Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I figured I'd tap in with y'all to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world. We're going to talk about Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford's face-off, my reaction to that whole situation, and Jaron Ennis speaking on the sparring session with Canelo Alvarez. We're going to get into Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight week. And then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the building thus far. If y'all could go ahead and hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We won it to the 3,100 mark. About to hit that 3,200 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. Shout out to the boy Coffee Plant in the building. What up? What up? How was my day? It was regular work, bro. You know what I mean? Just slow motion. You know what I mean? Regular stuff. You know what I mean? Woke up in the morning, went to work. You know what I mean? Went to the gym, came home, and now I'm chopping it up with y'all. You feel what I'm saying? So same old routine, bro. Can't really complain at all. Donald Banks, what up? I hope everything's well with you, Coffee. What you was getting into today? Solo Taino, what up? Taino, you Puerto Rican? You Taino, I'm assuming you Rican. Marissa, what up? What's going on, Marissa? How you feeling? Okay, what part of the island you from, Taino? You'd be surprised how many people don't know where they from in the island. That's crazy. I hope you know. I hope you ain't calling yourself Taino and don't know what part of the island you from. You know what I mean? What's going on? What's going on? So this whole week is just Bud Canelo, ain't it? I mean, that's what it's looking like. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's looking like. I mean, of course, you got the Lester Martinez and the Christian and Billy fight. Then you got the Callum Walsh, Fernando Vargas Jr. fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got them Jones. But UFC just dropped an embedded because you already know that this fight's being promoted by Dana White, Zuffa Boxing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? They got like the UFC production crew, filming the episodes. But I think it's pretty dope because the UFC embedded series is pretty well put together. You know what I mean? They showed Terence Crawford pretty much getting love from his hometown and Omaha before he Omaha before he took off to Las Vegas. Canelo Alvarez on the PJ playing cards. You know what I mean? Seeming relaxed. Fernando Vargas Jr., putting in the road work, getting ready. And then Callum Walsh just pretty much giving you like a little insight on his life, moving into his new house with his girlfriend. Girlfriend look kind of strong too. Big ass shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Hella testosterone in her body. I don't know if she a power lifter or what. But I seen that they got like their little farm. They moving chickens and shit like that. So it was a pretty little cool episode. You know what I mean? It's always dope to get like an insight on like what fighters do behind the scenes and, getting to know their personality a little bit more. You know what I mean? So shout out to UFC and Better for doing that. I seen that Netflix has been like recording like episodes on Terence Crawford and Canelo too, but I can't find them. It's like little snippets. Somebody got to let me know. Is those episodes being put on Netflix? Are they on YouTube? I cannot find them. So if somebody could please let me know if these are just snippets they putting out and it's not episodes. I need to know, bro, because they look very well produced. It looks pretty dope. I want to watch them. Marissa says they haven't dropped them yet. Oh, okay. I mean, when they gonna drop them then? I know you don't know the answer, Marissa, most likely, but it's like, when y'all gonna drop them then? It's the week of the fights. What y'all doing? Y'all should have put one episode out at least today. Then drop one on Wednesday, then probably drop the last one on Friday. Like, what is we doing? All right. Anybody get the info on that? Please let me know. Please let me know. All right, snippets. That's good to know. Because I feel like I was missing out. I'm like, damn, where the fuck is the episodes at? Bad Boom Balloon, what up? You said San Juan, Bayamon, Ponce. Damn, so you just from all over the island, huh? You don't got not one. So for example, my mom's side, they from Barranquitas. My dad's side is from Patillas. I love Patillas, man. I love Patillas. That's my favorite part of the island. I like Barranquitas too, but I'm not really like a that's more of like the countryside of Puerto Rico, the mountains and all that. Like I fuck with the mountains. I like how quiet and peaceful and beautiful it is over there. But Patillas is like a beach city. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really like that. You know what I mean? People always look like they got great energy, nice neighborhood, always positive, friendly, even if they don't know you, friendly. You know, very, very very, very cool over there. Beautiful beaches as well. Waterfalls in the tuck, all that. Baboon Balloon said, I believe Naya is on the same day as Buddy Canelo. He's the day after. Okay, so you got family all over the island, but your dad is from Bayamon and your mom's side from San Juan. Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. I'll be all over the island, but to be honest with you, the only part of the island I haven't yet explored yet in Puerto Rico is the west side of Puerto Rico. You know, like Aguadilla, I still haven't went over there. I pretty much been through all of like the south, you know, all of like the middle of the you know, central Puerto Rico, you know, and like north, like the middle, but like north of Puerto Rico. And then I've pretty much been all over the East Coast. I need to explore the West Coast. You feel what I'm saying? The stranger in the building, what up? He says, you doing a live reaction watch of the fight? Yes, I'm going to be having a whole fight party here. And you're going to see multiple personalities in here giving their takes and their reactions to the fight. You see what I'm saying? So it's definitely going to be something to watch. Mark stock on beverages. What you mean? Yeah, that's already going to be done, bro. On Wednesday, we're going to go food shopping and stock up the crib. You know what I mean? That ain't even a thing. And plus, it's going to be on Netflix. So it's, you know what I mean? We don't even got to pay for it. So it's lovely, man. All the only thing I'm probably be paying for is like the, you know what I mean? If I buy wings or pizza, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But outside of that, it's up. It's definitely up. It's for the free ski. You feel me? Eddie Alvarez, what up? He says salute from Michigan. Shout out to Michigan, man. Having some of the greatest fighters of all time over there, man. You gotta give Michigan they just do. You know what I mean? Y'all got the greatest female arguably the greatest female boxer of all time. Y'all got some of the greatest fighters of all time. Floyd Mayweather. The list goes on and on. You know what I mean? The whole Mayweather family, you know, out in Grand Rapids. You know what I mean? Where Clarissa from Flint. You feel what I mean? They got some good things rolling over there for sure. Where's James Toney from again? Where's James Toney from again? Is he James Toney from Grand Rapids too? Okay. He also grew up in Ann Arbor. Okay. Shot, man, beautiful list of fighters that's from Michigan. You feel me? The Midwest definitely been holding it down on this boxing shit. So shout out to Michigan. The stranger says the connection better be good. The Tyson Paul fight was horrible to watch. Yes, that is very true. Mike Tyson ass was out, and you know it froze right on Mike Tyson ass. Very uncomfortable experience, to be honest with you. But to be real, the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor fight was crystal clear. So I'm assuming they learned from their mistakes, and hopefully Canelo Crawford doesn't give us, you know, any type of problems. Because I'll be very upset if there's some buffering issues. Aaron, what up? He said, "What up, fam? Been out the mix. Need my boxing analysis fixed." I don't know if you was rhyming that, but that's definitely bars. I don't know if you was trying to rap or something, but that's definitely bars, brother. Bad Boom Balloon said, my final prediction for Canelo Bud. Canelo stops him in the mid to late rounds. Bud style won't do him many favors, and his high jump up in weight. Canelo's been going this distance because his opponents feel 1-2. Hey, man, shout out to Bad Boom Balloon. He confident in his pick. I'm going to reserve my pick until Friday, man. Because I've been thinking a few things. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to come up with that final prediction. I'm going to make my mind up, and I'm going to stand on it Friday right after the wins. You feel me? And plus, that's my day off. Oh, yeah. You already know. You already know. Yeah. Friday going to be a good day. And I get my son. Come on, man. You know it's always a celebration whenever I get my son. You feel me? Shout out to the real fathers out there. Anyways, we got 20 people in the building, man. Let's get 20 likes. We're about to get into these conversations. You feel what I'm saying? It is officially Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight week. They're both in Vegas right now. And, you know, they're finishing up their media obligations before the big fight this Saturday. And, you know, one of the most recent things that had came out between these two guys is Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford having their first face-off of the week. Now, I forgot exactly what that place is called. They said like the Bellagio Fountains or something of that nature. But I'm not too familiar with Vegas. Somebody's going to have to inform me on where the setting is. But it's pretty dope. I'm going to show you guys this. Let me share the screen for the people to see. And this is the face-off between these two guys, man. Let's take a look. Turkey always look like he don't belong there. Turkey always look like that motherfucker. What they say, he stick out like a sore thumb. Motherfucker, he always look uncomfortable, or like he just looked like he ain't supposed to be there. You feel what I'm saying? I know that shit was misty than the motherfucker too, because it was windy and all that water was pouring out them fountains or whatever the case is. I know the motherfuckers was getting a crazy mist of water over them, but they was just doing it for the I guess the purpose of the bet, you know, the setting and, you know, just fulfilling their media obligations. You feel me? But yeah, man, that's the face-off between the two. It doesn't look like much of a size difference between them, honestly. You see that Terence Crawford calves look all big and shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's Terence Crawford's gut. I just think that's just like his hoodie having extra space in it. I don't know. Canelo Alvarez dressed real comfy with the motherfucking heels to his boots. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know, man. Dana White got them young nigga jeans on with the Nikes. Some crazy shit going on right here. And we got Turkey Al-Sheik with the Moses sandals on. Look like he about to part. Motherfucker, you know how Moses parted the Red Sea? He about to part that fountain right there with them nut-ass flip-flops he got on. You feel me? But anyways, dope little face-off. Ain't really much to say about that, man. I'm just excited to see the fight. They said nigga Turkey stand like a penguin. Yo, he really do though. He really do stand like a penguin. Look at that. Look at that. What's that shit called? Look at that posture. It's giving like penguins in Madagascar. It really is. He said they got the Jerusalem 11s on. Yeah, he got the Moses 11s on his feet. He out here tripping. Toes cold as shit out there in that windy ass Vegas weather. Oh man. But anyways, that motherfucker, y'all niggas ever watch SpongeBob when they was drinking them kelp shakes? He built like a motherfucking Diet Dr. Kelp. That nigga Turkey Al-Sheik out here built like a Diet Dr. Kelp. Hold on. This motherfucker built just like this. Turkey built like a Cybertruck. Damn, Karma. What's wrong? You all right? Yo, Karma got some shit on her mind. This is exactly how the way Turkey built. He built like a Diet Dr. Kelp. This shit right here, kelp shake. Yeah, Turkey out here tripping. You got some nerve to have all that money and be looking like that, bro. I'm just saying. Shout out to Turkey Al-Sheik though, man. One of the top guys in boxing. You feel what I'm saying? One of the most respected people in boxing, I guess you would say. Shout out to Turkey Al-Sheik. You feel me? He said they all look paid and happy. Shit, I hope so. I hope they paid. I hope they happy, man, because money don't fix everything. You feel me? But that's a different discussion, man. Ain't really much to talk about with that face-off right there. You know what I mean? We all know that Terence Crawford's a taller guy. We know that he's been putting the weight on, you know, quite easily based off of what we've been seeing. So, you know, we can speak about who looks bigger and who looks in shape, whatever the case is. But, you know what I mean? We'll get more of a review of their physique and how the way they actually look the day of the weigh-in. You feel what I'm saying? So shout out to Terence Crawford. Shout out to Canelo Alvarez for showing up. You know what I mean? And getting people excited for, the fight week that's going to be going on between them two. Crawford looks tall. I mean, he is taller. You know what I'm saying? Like Canelo Alvarez probably like a good 5'6", 5'7". Bud probably like a good 5'8", 5'9". You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, without a doubt, Terence Crawford's taller. But, this ain't about necessarily being taller. When you fighting at an elite level, a 1-inch height advantage or a 2-inch height advantage ain't really going to do too much for you. You feel what I'm saying? So, Bad Boom Balloon said, what y'all think? Turkey trying to forget more the Times Square card? What y'all think Turkey trying to forget more, the Times Square card or Canelo versus Skull? I think Canelo versus Skull. I think that situation really pissed Turkey off. And it was to the point where he said that he don't even want to work with Skull no more. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hear him say that about any of the individuals that was on that Times Square card. I didn't hear him say that about Tio. Except for when he disrespected Turkey al-Sheikh country and his religion. But since then, I think he done kissed his ass and Turkey found a way to forgive him. But like even guys like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, Rolly, I never heard Turkey say that he wasn't willing to work with them again. So I think that if any situation pissed him off more, it would have to be William Skull. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Lorenzo in the building. What up? We got 25 people in the building, man. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Y'all go ahead, hit the subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. The founding father of the Tom and Jerry joke. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Turkey was pretty much like the first one to say the shit, but hold on. My fault. Yeah, that shit started with Turkey al-Sheikh, but it seems like he built that shit off of the whole William Skull performance. You know what I mean? And people took that and decided to bash black fighters with that instead. You feel me? But it is what it is. Hit the likes. What we doing? Damn, what the likes looking like, man? What the likes looking like with 25 people in the building? Man, don't disappoint me right now. Don't disappoint me right now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no. We only got 8 likes. Oh, man. Y'all don't fuck with the kid at all. Y'all, damn, what's going on? Bad Boom Balloon said, what about the Devin versus Ryan rematch? What y'all think? That shit in the bin. I mean, it wasn't until Ryan Garcia decided to lose. And I don't think Ryan Garcia really wants to fight Devin Haney coming off of a loss, to be honest with you. He talking about rematch and Rolly. He talking about different fights. He's not really talking about Devin Haney. You see? I don't know. I feel like that rematch is bound to happen. And when it does, I'm sure it's going to do some numbers just considering the history between the two. But I don't think Ryan Garcia really wants to go down that route. And not only Ryan, but I've heard Oscar De La Hoya say on record that he's not really looking for that Devin Haney rematch himself. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something that's going to happen next. I highly doubt it happens next, to be honest with you. But, down the future, especially when Ryan Garcia is not with Golden Boy anymore, it's a possibility. And I'm sure Devin Haney will take on that situation because I'm sure he won his get back. Despite, popular belief, I genuinely believe that Devin Haney wants that smoke. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. So shout out to YSM. Shout out to YSM Sports. Shout out to YSM Sports Media, man, for coming out with this interview with Jaron Ennis. There's been a lot of talk about Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis done broke the internet on back-to-back situations, whether he had these little situations with him supposedly turning down fights with T.O. and Devin and all that, then making his move up to 154, then the infamous sparring sessions with Canelo Alvarez, man. A lot of people have been waiting to see exactly what Jaron Ennis' thought process is and why he chose to spar Canelo Alvarez, what he was doing over there, why was he over there, how was the work. Shout out to YSM for coming through and making this interview happen. You feel what I'm saying? Because there's not many people who can get in touch with Jaron Ennis nowadays, but Jamil always seems to get it done. So shout out to Jamil for, coming through with that. This is the interview right here. I'm going to give you guys my live reaction as the video plays. So let's get to it. Hold on.
11th against Usman Lima Philadelphia, Wells Fargo. Oh shit, it's not the Wells Fargo.
Yeah, it's called Xfinity Mobile Arena now.
Xfinity Mobile Arena.
Yeah, I'm the first one to fight here.
Shit, yeah.
I'm just breaking history. You know what I'm saying? Making history, man. Breaking records right now.
First fight at 154 pounds. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm excited. Camp going great. I'm just excited. I'm ready to rock and roll. Put on another spectacular performance.
Why should everybody come out October 11th?
Everybody should come out October 11th because it's gonna be explosive. My first fight at 154, you don't want to miss. And it's gonna be a big knockout, of course.
What kind of boots can we expect?
You're gonna expect super smart, sharp, intelligent, breaking them down, having my fun. Like I said, getting a knockout at the end of the night. That's what fans like to see. So that's what I want to do. Put on a show, look good, be phenomenal, and also get the knockout as well. But if it don't come, it don't come. But we're not looking for no knockouts. We're just gonna have fun.
Okay.
We're definitely gonna be victorious though, always.
You've never jumped up and weight before, like this is your first time. But speaking of first times, this was your first time going away for training camp.
Yeah.
You went out last week with Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
I mean, it wasn't my first time going away for camp because my pro debut, I did the Olympic Training Center for my pro debut for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like my second one, but it was a great great experience. I love being out there. It was fun. I had a great time.
All right. Being that this was your second time, right? What do you feel like you gained from it?
Just having fun. Being in there with what he got 70. Canelo got 70 fights or something like 67 fights or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was just cool being there. You'd be able to share a ring with him. Having fun. Learning different things. And I was out there fishing. I was doing a bunch of different stuff. It was cool to get away. And I love that I experienced that. Getting away, sparring Canelo, fishing, just having fun. With my brother. And things like that. So it was cool.
Why did you feel like this was the perfect time to do that?
I feel like it was the perfect time because, like you said, I'm moving up in weight, and I want to just, experience something different. I always do camp in Philly, and I just wanted to do something different, and I definitely think I'm gonna take my whole next full camp to, over there, and where we was at. I loved it out there.
Damn, that's interesting. I thought Booz was trying to hold that shit down and just train in Philly. Damn. We seeing Booz grow before our very eyes, ladies and gentlemen. He is looking like he gonna train up in the mountains now for his future fights. That's very interesting.
It was great.
As far as like sparring goes, right? Historically, you and your father have talked about that it's tough getting sparring. And did you see this as the perfect time to get a guy of that caliber?
Yeah, why not? Why not? You be able to share the ring with with Canelo, and like I said, being there with a Hall of Famer, legend, and kind of like the face of boxing. Why not? All
right, so I gotta ask you.
Yeah.
People gonna kill me if I don't. How was the work?
The work was great. The work was great. Like I said, I had a great time. It was having.
Jamil, he ain't gonna give you no details on the sparring on camera. Come on, Mel. I know the people wanted to know that, but you ain't gonna get that answer out of Boots, not on camera.
Fun, I love being in there with Canelo. It was a great thing.
All right. So there's been like 100 rumors, and it kind of broke the internet. That might have been like your third time this year. Yeah. Did you expect this kind of attention from a sparring session?
I already knew it was gonna go crazy. Once we posted the pic, I'm like, yo, this junk gonna go everywhere. We kind of like figured it, and it kind of, I guess you could say it made the fight more interesting now because everybody kind of like want to tune in a little bit more to see.
I agree. I definitely agree that that sparring session with Canelo made the fight more interesting because, to be real with you, there wasn't really much promotion in the lead up to this fight. I know that they had their sit downs and stuff like that, but that was literally 2 months before. That was literally 2 months ago that they did that promotion. Ever since then, they've been real quiet and, understandably so. They in camp, they locking in, they formulating game plans. They trying to look for the best way to win. They studying film. Like, of course, there isn't going to be like 24/7 media coverage on these guys or anything like that because they need to get in their bag and lock in. But it's like the promoters on their part, to be honest with you, man, you know, they haven't really been doing much. You feel what I'm saying? They really haven't been doing much. They just been letting the, you know, the YouTube content creators promote the fight for real. And this is exactly why I say, yeah, you know, the content creators, you know, that push the sport of boxing, we really the heartbeat of this shit. You feel what I mean? Whether you got a small channel or you got the biggest channel around, you know, they the heartbeat of the you know, the boxing world, of the boxing game. Because we're the ones who actually be pushing these fights more than the promoters doing. The promoters are the ones who getting paid for it. So Jaron Ennis, that sparring session that he did with Canelo definitely stirred up the pot, you know what I mean, and got a lot more people talking because, you know, people were speaking about the fight, but they weren't as excited as they was, you know, they weren't as excited now as they were before the sparring session got leaked. So, you know what I mean? He makes a good point.
You know what's going to happen for them.
What's your thoughts on the backlash, though?
I ain't going to lie. I really don't care. I ain't going to lie. I went out there not only to help, not help, but I went out there for myself, basically. Like, you know, to start my first 2 weeks off at camp, out in where we was at, and, you know, with the elevation and all that, that was phenomenal. This was for me. It wasn't for nobody else. You know, I went out there and I got the experience, you know, being in the ring with Canelo, and like I said, we was having fun. I had a great time sparring him, and it was good, you know, good.
I'm gonna tell you this, and I heard this through the grapevine because a lot of people assume that Jaron Ennis was requested to go over to Canelo's camp to spar. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of people are going with. And, you know, if you didn't really know no better, I guess that'd be a pretty safe assumption to, you know, put out there into the world. However, from the information that I've gathered, and Boots look crazy. Boots look crazy right here in this pic. I paused the video at the worst time. Let me go ahead and let me fix that for you, man. You out here looking crazy. Oh, all right. So that was the end of the interview anyway. But anyways, from the information that I've gathered from people that I spoke to, Boots was the one that requested the work. Boots was the one that requested the work. Canelo didn't go looking for Boots. Boots looked for him. You see what I'm saying? So I think it was a situation where Jaron Ennis just wanted to test where he was at. You know what I mean? he wanted to see exactly how he, you know, stands with these guys. Because I've told you guys for a long time, Boots has a really tough time getting quality sparring. You see what I mean? Like I said, they was just hitting me up not too long ago trying to get some of my guys to come over there, and we'll be going over there for sure. We definitely would love to help Boots, you know, get ready for his fight and things of that nature. Any way that we could help, I'm definitely looking to, you know, contribute to the success in any way that I can. But historically, he's always had trouble getting work. So the fact that he had an opportunity in front of him, and with Canelo having a relationship with the Ennis family, I think it was a great opportunity for Boots to take. And we're not about to get down into the same conversations about Boots being a sellout and, you know, the code and all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to go down that conversation, but I remember there was a lot of talk about that. And, you know, at the end of the day, Boots contributed to the promotion, to that fight. So if anybody need to, you know, help, or if anybody needs to say thank you to Jaron Ennis for promoting the fight, maybe it's Bud and Canelo Alvarez. You see what I'm saying? Because now that his name is in the mix, people are, you know, switching their whole picks up. I've seen people switch their whole prediction up, you know, picking Bud, but then following through with Canelo after seeing Canelo sparring with Boots. Like, that's how much of an effect that sparring session has had on the boxing fans' minds. That's how much of an effect that sparring session had, you know, in terms of, you know, the promotion for the fight. You see what I'm saying? So I said all of that to say Boots was the one who was looking for the work. You know what I'm saying? And he got the work. And now he's talking about how, you know what I mean, he wants to do his future camps out in the place that they was at, you know, above sea level and all that stuff. He just felt like he needed something different, which just means that, you know, he pretty, it sounds like Boots is outgrowing training in Philly. You know what I mean? He's been doing the same thing. He's been having the same camps over and over and over again, going to the same place over and over and over again. And sometimes you just need a change, man. Sometimes you just genuinely need a change. You need to switch up the scenery to keep your mind fresh. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go, like, sometimes sticking to the same tradition over and over again could really be wearing on the mind. You know what I mean? It could be a burnout. It's like if you walking into work every day. You know what I mean? Like that's why they give you guys PTO. That's why they give you guys paid vacations. That's why they give you, sick days. And, that's why they give you those things, because they understand that burnout is a real thing. And they know that, going through the same thing over and over and over again could be taxing on you, on the psyche. So maybe that's where Boots is at this point in his career. Maybe he just needs something different to look forward to keep himself up and motivated for these upcoming fights. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to Boots. If he decides to, relocate his camp out there where he was training at to while getting that sparring with Canelo Alvarez, you know what I'm saying? I think that he should do whatever he feels is right for him. He should definitely do whatever he feels right for him in his mind and what makes him happy. You feel what I mean? And one thing I do know is that even though Boots will be relocating his camp, if that's what he really plans on doing, I know he always gonna show love to the city, so it ain't gonna be a loss whatsoever. You see what I mean? So, yeah, that's Jaron Ennis speaking on the Canelo Alvarez sparring. Of course, he didn't get into details. He got a relationship with Canelo, so I don't think he'll ever take an opportunity to shit on Canelo or get into specifics to reveal what type of game plan he got going into the Crawford fight. I just don't see Jaron Ennis doing that. You see what I'm saying? So, shout out to Jaron Ennis. You know what I mean? Shout out to him for being having such good composure, man. Great self-control on Jaron Ennis's part, because I ain't gonna lie, if I seen some of the comments that I seen online, in reference to me, and I'm knowing that it's, false, or I'm knowing that they purposely lying on me, or they just blatantly hating on me, bro, something in me will make me want to respond. It seems like this dude Boots just effortlessly ignores the media and ignores the haters, bro. That takes a special type of patience and composure to do so. Because a motherfucker like me, I ain't the most emotional dude. But at the same time, I ain't about to be letting you talk crazy neither. You see what I mean? We got people that constantly reply back to the haters like Clarissa Shields and Shakur Stevenson. Then you got Boots who won't give anybody an ounce of his energy. He'll just do an interview with YSM here and there and just go about his life. You know what I'm saying? So you got to give Boots a lot of credit for that, because he approaches things in a very mature way. And I ain't gonna lie, I don't know if I could be as mature as Boots if I was facing similar circumstances. So, shout out to Jaron Ennis for that. Go Get the Money says, no, it was something to talk about with Boots. Most definitely didn't add any value to the fight. It was going to hold its magnitude. I'm not saying that he made the fight more meaningful or made the fight more, important. You know what I'm saying? But Boots definitely did add to the promotion of the fight. You want to know how I know? Because as soon as Boots and Canelo dropped that sparring, people started, once they dropped the news, once Jaron Ennis's team, whoever was involved decided to spread the news that he was sparring Canelo, all of a sudden you had more people talking about Canelo Crawford. You know what I mean? You had some people saying that, Boots is helping Canelo. You got some people saying that Boots is going to be hurting Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Increasing his chances of winning and hurting his chances of winning. You got people speaking about, like I said, I've seen legit interviews where people are switching up their whole picks and picking Canelo just off of the strength that he's preparing for Terence Crawford with Jaron Ennis. All of that type of talk that does build towards the promotion of the fight. You know what I'm saying? It's not, to me, it's just not something to talk about. Yes, it's something to talk about, but it's just not something. It's not just that. It's also helping the overall promotion of the fight, because then you even got people asking Terence Crawford personally, what does he think about Boots sparring Canelo? And he's saying here telling you that it don't matter what he do. He believes in himself regardless. He feels like whoever Canelo spars is not going to get him ready for him. He says that Boots is not me and I'm not him. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he had to come out and, speak on the subject himself just lets you know how big of a deal it was and how much it added to the promotion, because it hit Terence Crawford front desk. So, you know what I'm saying? I definitely disagree with that. I don't think it really changed the importance of the fight or the magnitude of the fight, but it definitely contributes to the promotion. Shout out to the boy. Go Get the Money for that. Shout out to the boy Ralph in the building. He said, Boots, no, all he got to do is put on a good performance and they'll switch up. Yeah, I think he has a good understanding of that. And also, I guess he's big on, just letting his actions do the talking. You feel what I mean? I also think that Boots was brought up by strong men who, pretty much gave him, advice or, pretty much is leading him in a direction where he don't got to respond to haters or anything like that. You know what I mean? He don't need to feed into them. And it's a smart move. You know what I mean? I just wish that I was capable of doing that. You see what I'm saying? Because I be having people that talk crazy in my comments. And sometimes I ignore them. You know what I mean? Sometimes I do ignore them. Sometimes I'll just completely forget about them. Then there's other times where it's like, let me tell this nigga something because he out here talking crazy. You feel me? Let me go get something to drink real quick. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Shout out to the 22 people in the building. Solo Taino said, brought more talking about it again. Absolutely. Absolutely. Raul says, yeah, it'd be hard not to respond when you know they saying BS or lying about something. Facts. So, like I be reading certain shit and they be like, man, you got something against Mexicans, man. You a racist. You hate Mexicans. I'm like, huh? That'd be the craziest thing to me because if you really, for one, that lets you know that you don't watch the channel. Because two out of my three favorite fighters in boxing right now are Mexicans. A couple of my favorite fighters of all time are Mexican. Y'all already know. Juan Manuel Marquez, Mikey Garcia. I even fucked with Oscar De La Hoya. Even though he was Tito's rival at one point in time, and Tito Trinidad, my favorite fighter all the time, I rocked with Oscar De La Hoya. You know what I mean? But then you can talk about my favorite. That's just the all-time favorites. I'm not even talking about active fighters. You feel me? Like, I really fuck with David Benavidez. That's my guy. I really respect how the way he moves in the sport. I like how he's looking to take on all the big challenges. And I just like his work ethic and how hungry he is. That's something that I could really respect about that man. The fact that he's been, successful all throughout his career and he definitely had some bumps along the road. He still stays confident. You know what I mean? He still stays hungry. He always has this. He always finds a way to keep a chip on his shoulder, despite all the success he's had this early on in his career. You got to respect Benavidez for that. Look at what Ben Rodriguez is doing at a very young age, just like Benavidez, winning world titles, unifying titles, multi-division world champion. You know what I'm saying? He just grabbed the belt in his last fight. He possibly may grab another one November 22nd. 3 out of the 4 major belts in the division. How can you not respect that? How could you not respect that? And those are Mexican fighters. So when I sit back, because I know Bam ain't Puerto Rican. I know that David Benavidez ain't Dominican. These are Mexican guys. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how could you? And I fuck with Diego Pacheco. I really like Diego Pacheco. Like, outside of them three, he's one of my favorite fighters as well. That's a Mexican guy. But you let these motherfuckers in the comments tell it, oh, you got something against Mexicans because I'm rooting for Bud to beat Canelo. Canelo is just one Mexican. Why me going against just one Mexican make me against Mexicans? So based off of y'all logic, let's say I'm rooting for like Lester Martinez to beat Christian and Billy. Am I against black people? I don't know. It's just something to really think about. I know the answer. It's not that I don't know. I do know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So if you root for somebody, to go against a black fighter, you against black fighters. If I root against somebody who's Mexican, then I hate Mexicans. If I root against somebody who's Puerto Rican, I dislike Puerto Ricans. Like, I remember somebody tried to say that shit about me with Puerto Ricans because I wasn't rooting for Belonga. Man, how can you go against Puerto Rico like that? You got something against Puerto Rico. Nigga, I am Puerto Rican. Nigga, I was raised by a Puerto Rican mother. What are you talking about? Shit just be crazy. I don't know what these dudes be talking about, bro. They be tripping. And they don't even know me. They don't even tune into the channel to actually be making these assumptions. They just be saying shit because I say something they don't like, get all sensitive, and then want to put labels on people. Goofiest shit in the world. You know what I mean? But let's get into some open boxing topics, man. Like I said, ain't really much to talk about. A lot of shit is slow motion right now. We just waiting for the Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight to unfold. You feel what I mean? I've been thinking about it, bro. I'm probably not going to go live until the day of the fight, to be real with you, bro. I'm probably not going to go live until the fight because it's just been so – I mean, the weigh-in, of course, we gonna talk about that. But, you know, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's like, bro, I don't really see a point in going live. I really don't. Unless some crazy news drop or whatever the case is. I don't really see what's the point on getting on live. They ain't really shit to talk about. This has been really slow. Like I could come up with certain topics and shit like that. You know what I mean? Just to be creative. I do want to be consistent, but it's like, I mean, I'm looking at bigger people's channels and looking at their views, and they not getting as many views as they usually do neither. So I'm like, damn, shit's just slow. Solo Taino said, I saw something about Crawford being injured or something. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I want to know exactly where that had came from. Because I seen something about Terence Crawford possibly having a shoulder injury. I don't know how legitimate that is. I seen him doing workouts that incorporated his shoulder, so I highly doubt that. But let's actually take a look at that. Let me see. So according to Pound, I don't know exactly how credible this source is. Shout out, you know, people got to tap in with me. They actually be on Twitter. Let's show this right here for the people to see. And I'm hearing, it says, damn, I'm hearing from a close source that Terence Crawford's shoulder that he had surgery on has been flaring up in camp. Apparently, it has been a lingering issue for the past 8 to 10 weeks and is being monitored closely. Damn. Listen, I don't really know too much about this page. If anybody knows if they're credible or not, please let me know. I don't know. That could just be a rumor. I'm sure Terence Crawford wouldn't say whether even if it was true, I highly doubt they'll come out and say that it's true because it is close to the fight. And they don't really want to give nobody like Canelo Alvarez any type of ammunition, especially considering the fact that Canelo is notoriously known that he's notoriously known for punching shoulders and, you know, tearing biceps with punches and shit like that. So, oh, okay. So he said he pushing fake news. All right, let's see what else is out here. Let me see the latest. Damn, that's pretty much the only thing I see. That's basically the only thing I see. Let me see what the responses are. Adam said, what's up with the clickbait? That's what we doing now. Nobody believes shit you saying. Ray Jackson 2.0. That's crazy. But like, if he's been struggling with that show, let's say if this was a real situation and he was actually injured. I seen this man doing work. I seen him doing like that hill climbing, John, when Turkey Al-Sheikh was talking to him. I'm sure that incorporates your shoulder. Why would he be doing that if his shoulder's so flared up or his shoulder's hurting so bad? I don't even recall the time where Bud actually got surgery on his shoulder. Can anybody tell me about that? Might have to look into that. Let me see. Can't even recall. But then Blue Blood also reported something about 9 months ago. It says Terence Crawford reportedly dealing with injury as Canelo negotiations get closer. That was about 9 months ago, though. I don't know. That's interesting, though. Says Bivol said my arm hurt after. I mean, yeah, if a motherfucker keep punching when you in your arm, you gonna feel that shit, especially if they got some pop. Shit, my fan dislocated his shoulder first round and still won against a tough dude. Yeah, I done heard about that. That account is run by a Crawford hater. I wouldn't trust it. Okay, that's good to know. Because like I said, I don't really be tapped in with other like boxing pages, all like that. You know, like I used to follow what was his name? Michael Benson. I used to follow him heavy whenever I needed like, a credible source to fall back on, or Hassan Wells sometimes, Dan the Boxing Man. Or I'll just look at the Ring Magazine's page as well. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't really tune into these other guys, so I didn't even know that somebody like Pound for Pound would be like a Boots page, or he just purposely hates on Terence Crawford. So that's actually good to know. I didn't hear Bud come out and say that. Bud hasn't been really showing me anything to let me know that he has a shoulder injury. So, I'm not even going to look at that as like a legitimate excuse. And I feel like if Bud was truly injured, I don't think he would put himself in a situation where he knew he would come up short in a fight. I think he's too much of a competitor. I think he got too much pride for that. I think he'll rather postpone a fight instead of just going into a fight completely injured and helpless, hopeless, whatever you want to call it. So, I call it bullshit. I ain't gonna lie, But at the same time, I'm gonna say this too. And I was just having this conversation earlier at the gym. Nobody ever goes into a fight 100%. If you having these long grueling training camps that's 6 to 8 weeks long, and you literally dedicating each day out of those 8 weeks to boxing is so strenuous on the body. It's such a hard sport that if you do an 8-week training camp and you don't feel any type of pain anywhere near your, like on no part of your body, shit, you must be like a motherfucking superhero or something. You must be like the Incredible Hulk or some shit, because I remember training 4 or 5 weeks and having shin splints, or kind of got that what's that, plantar fasciitis at the bottom of your feet from jumping rope with the wrong shoes on, or aching wrist, sore arms, sore legs. You know what I'm saying? Like you might pull a back in your muscle. You might pull a muscle in your back. Whiplash from probably getting hit with a clean shot and sparring, headaches. It's so many things, bro. There's so many things. Busted lip, jaw clicking. Whenever you move your jaw, you might hear a click noise or something. Like these things happen. These things happen one way or another. Whether it's a minor injury or a major injury, these things happen, y'all. J. Cool said Blue Blood be lying in his titles too. Do he really? I don't know. I don't really watch him all like that. Shout out to Blue Blood though. So, yeah, I don't know. But what's on the people's mind before I get up out of here, man? We got like another good 10 minutes on here. I just wanted to give you guys my hour and then go on with my night. You feel what I'm saying? Because definitely need some sleep tomorrow. Gotta go to the gym. I mean, I gotta go to work. I gotta go pick up my son. I gotta go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? And my boy, when I pick him up, he get all excited and motherfucker turn into the Energizer Bunny, and you gotta keep up with him. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna definitely need them Z's. You feel me? So what's on the people's mind? What we thinking about? What we talking about? Out of Powell said Bud looked bigger than Canelo, height and everything. I mean, listen, it's very possible that Bud may be bigger than Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Canelo's not a big dude. Canelo got a big ass head, and he got like a wide frame in like terms of torso and stuff like that. So that's how his a majority of his weight is in his upper body. You feel what I mean? But you know, in terms of height, Canelo, they seem like they add an inch to his height all the time. I don't know why. I even seen people like he's 5'6", 5'7" at best. Probably like a you know a little bit on the higher 5'6" side, or maybe just touching 5'7". But he's definitely not in the 5'8" range. From what I heard, Terence Crawford is like 5'8", 5'9". So of course, you know, based off of the numbers, Terence Crawford is going to be the taller dude. Now, in terms of size, it just seems like because Terence Crawford's taller and his weight is distributed, you know, quite evenly, because you don't really see too much gut on Bud. You don't really see Bud with a round face or, you know, fat arms or fat back, or whatever the case is, fat legs. It just seems like his weight is evenly distributed throughout his body. You know what I'm saying? So he probably the type dude that could be 190 pounds and you can't even tell because, you know, it's not one significant part of his body that's sticking out. You feel me? So you know, because of the weight distribution, he may look, you know, more solid than Canelo and stuff like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, one thing we can't dispute is that Canelo's more acclimated to the 168-pound division. And we don't know how Bud, despite him looking bigger, we don't know how his body's gonna respond to fighting at such a high weight. You know, he might look good between rounds 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, but then when 7, 8, 9 come in, then all of a sudden his legs might be stuck in the mud. Or, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure Bud done prepared every way he can to make sure he in phenomenal shape. But you know what I mean? You don't really know how phenomenal your shape is until you take that ultimate chance in the ring and put it on display with 10-ounce gloves on with your legitimate opponent, not a sparring partner, but your legitimate opponent. You feel me? Solo Taino said, "You from Philly, right? Whatever happened to Young Hot? Not boxing related, but it was on my mind. Bro, I couldn't even tell you. I know exactly who you're talking about too. I think he battled Murder Mook back in the day. I don't know, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie, I'm not really tapped into the rap community in Philly all like that. Like I know a couple names, but like I don't really listen to their music. To be honest with you, like outside of a few artists, I don't really listen to rap all like that. You feel me? I might listen to my old school rappers, like, you know, of course, like DMX, Jay-Z, Nas. You know, I might even tap into. I was a big Eminem fan when I was younger, but I still tap into him according to the songs. You know, a lot of people. Big Pun. It's a lot of them, bro. It's a lot of Wu-Tang. Definitely was listening to Wu-Tang. I listened to Drake for sure because that was like my first favorite rapper growing up. J. Cole. I used to listen to Big Sean, but I don't know what type of goofy shit he be on now. It's a few guys. You know, of course, if Kendrick throws something out there, I'll listen to it. You know, I don't really be tapped in with Philly music though. Nah, Charlo got hit on the top of the head with I think a hook from Canelo. I think he got hit with like an overhand right or like a right hook. He hit Charlo on the top of the head and threw off his equilibrium and he took a knee. So it wasn't a body shot. You said Jake, Big Sean Collabs with Detroit artists lately have been fired. I just don't like Big Sean was one of my favorites growing up. You know what I mean? Like early teenage years, I was listening to Big Sean. And A Dark Sky Paradise is probably like my favorite album from Big Sean. Then it's like, I don't know, whenever he start fucking with a girl, it's like, bro, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he just be unmotivated or happy. Like I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Whenever he makes music with Janae, I just don't enjoy it. I really don't. I like that old school rap and Big Sean. You know what I mean? Like that slight work Big Sean verse with Wale. Fuck with that John. Like I said, Dark Sky Paradise was fire. And then he had another one. He had another album I thought was fire too. Girls definitely be the downfall sometimes, especially if you putting all your, you putting your whole life into just that. You feel me? Dark Sky Paradise, Finally Famous, and the one that I was talking about was I Decided. I Decided, like 2017, Big Sean. Yeah, Chance the Rapper. I used to listen to Chance the Rapper, bro. I love how unique he was. Like that last coloring book album he dropped, I was like 19, 18, 19, between like 17 and 19 when that shit dropped. And I loved it. But I don't know, everything after that just wasn't my thing no more. I think T.O. Downfall was his girl, definitely. Definitely. I think that played a part. I think that may have been what broke him, to be honest with you, because T.O. looked like he was in a good headspace until he started having issues with his ex-wife. That's what it looked like. You know what I mean? Some people got their things that they can't handle. Some people can't handle money. Some people can't handle drugs. Some people can't handle sex. Some people can't handle women. Some people can't handle adversity. Some people can't handle stress. Like it's a lot of, there's some things that people just can't have too much of or they go crazy. He said, boy, Cassidy definitely was a phenomenal rapper. Shit real. I know how bagging the whole brick feel. Big deal. Hit the garage and switch wheels. Give me a massage, then show me how them lips feel. I'm shining because I'm grinding on the strip still. Come on, man. Ain't shit changed like Rick James. I'm rich, bitch. Shout out to Cassidy. I'm definitely a Philly legend. I don't know what he doing with this battle rap shit, but yeah. Bud gotta have on the black forces at the weigh-in. I agree. He definitely got to tap into that mentality. Zero respect for Canelo whatsoever, bro. You know what I mean? All that kissing his ass and being thankful for the opportunity and all that. Fuck all that. You don't want to be, and you don't want to be one of them who, not his friend in the weigh-in and then being hella respectful in the ring on some Caleb Plant shit, on some motherfucking Jermel Charlo shit. Nah, nigga. Nah. It need to be known from off rip. I'm coming to get that dub, and I don't give a fuck who you is, what you accomplished. I'm a man in my own right, and I'm coming to get it. Pause. You feel me? So I think Bud definitely need to tap into that Black Air Force energy for sure. You said Cassidy had bars, but I hated the beats. Yeah. People say the same shit about Nas, and Nas, like, arguably the greatest rapper of all time. They said that he had horrible beat selection. But there's a few beats that I can recall from Nas that was fire. So I don't know. I guess it's comes down to preference. He getting paid 50 million. Who getting paid 50 million? How y'all be knowing these persons, bro? I'm not saying y'all wrong, but how y'all be knowing that? Because that don't even be coming across my timeline. Yeah, bro. Caleb Plant, I don't know. Like this, there's definitely a lot to respect about Caleb Plant. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people be like hesitant to criticize him for some reason. Man, listen, R. Kelly, that's a nasty motherfucker, but we not about to sit here and act like he ain't talented. Now, whether you decide to listen to his music or not, that's your prerogative. But people acting like because he a little freaky man or whatever that he ain't no musical genius. Will Thurman get stopped? I believe so. I believe so. I think Fundora is actually, and I know a lot of people aren't too fond of Fundora, including myself. But I went back and watched that Tim Tszyu fight. Sebastian Fundora is getting better, y'all. I don't know if it's his confidence. I don't know if he's actually in the gym learning how to be how to fight like a taller fighter, but he's getting better. And the thing about Thurman, for real, is first of all, he ain't acclimated to 154 yet. That Brock Jarvis John not gonna convince me that you ready for the elite level at 54. You older, you injury prone, you inactive, a lot of wear and tear, a lot of ring rust. To be honest with you, and I don't even remember the last time Keith Thurman fought a high level boxer, like an elite level boxer. Like we about to sit here and act like Mario Barrios, this elite level boxer. Are we gonna act like who was it? Danny Garcia? Was he the last? What, Pacquiao? His loss? The last time he fought somebody elite was Pacquiao, and that was a loss. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. That made you look beat was in. I made you look. You were slave to a page in my rhyme book. Yeah, that beat went hard. The Nas's like beat, go crazy. Freedom of jail clips asserted the baby's being born the same time a man is murdered. The beginning and end. As far as rap go, was only natural. I explain my plateau and also what defines my name. Man, yeah, that beat go crazy. Damn. I think he got a song called Small World. It's a small world. Watch what you do. That beat, I like that beat too. Nas got some good beats, bro. I don't think he's been I don't think that's a fair criticism of his work. You feel me? Because as much as he probably got beats you don't like, I'm sure he got beats you do like. What do I think of Fundora as a fighter? Well, like I said, I think he's getting better, but he still has a lot of flaws defensively. He does give up his range a lot. He leaves a lot of openings to be countered. He leaves a lot of opportunities to land bombs on him. So, yeah, man. You know what I mean? I still think he's very much a crash dummy in terms of like lack of defense. And I do think that he pretty much goes against the physical attributes that God gave him at, most of the time. But I do think that he's starting to recognize, especially, being at a higher level, I think he's starting to recognize that, there's things that he definitely needs to improve on. And I think that he's slowly but surely like polishing up on his craft. But I still think even though, he's attempting to improve, that there's still a lot of flaws there. And I don't know if those flaws are something that's going to be able to be, fixed 100% of the time. There ain't no such thing as a perfect fighter anyway. But, I think Fundora is solid. You know what I mean? I think one thing about Fundora, based off of what he's shown, that motherfucker rises to the occasion. He rises to the occasion, man. So I think he's going to stop Thurman, to be honest with you. I don't know if Thurman's legs, especially with the inactivity and age that he's at right now with the additional 7 pounds on his body that I don't believe he's fully acclimated to. I don't know. And then this is the thing, like Keith Thurman is used to being on his bicycle and, out skilling guys out. Are you really going to be able to do that with a 6'6" fighter? Are you really going to be able to do that? Especially if Fundora get his jab off, and how the way Keith Thurman don't got the most, sturdy chin. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I've seen this man get rocked multiple times early in his career. Later on in his career, I've seen this man get hurt to the body. You getting put down by, an older Manny Pacquiao who is very much, 5'5" to 5'6". You got a 6'6" dude throwing punches down on you, and everybody know when you punch down, the punches are more devastating. So there's a lot of things that Keith Thurman is going to be going up against in that fight, bro. I ain't gonna lie, Keith Thurman might be able to hit him with some bombs and stuff like that, but I don't know if Keith Thurman, because Keith Thurman stopped getting knockouts a long time ago. I don't know if Fundora is going to be respectful of Keith's power. And I tell you what, if Fundora don't respect Keith's power, Keith gonna be in trouble. I think that Keith's gonna be in trouble. If Keith Thurman hits some Fundora with some shit and Fundora don't go nowhere, or he like, oh, this shit not bad, Fundora is going to give Thurman a lot of trouble. That's going to be a long night. He got a bad poker face when he get hurt, and he got terrible body language. Like, this man literally gets hit with body shots, and he literally takes his mouthpiece out of his mouth during the course of the round to breathe air. Like, I don't know. Keith don't be reacting well. I think against a good finisher, Keith would be cooked. And Fundora, he got some. He not the best finisher, but he got some finishing ability in him. That's one thing I can say. In my opinion, as a casual, I think Boots is the perfect fighter. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect fighter, James. Everybody got some things that they need to work on. You never stop learning in the sport. But Boots is a complete fighter. I don't think he's a perfect fighter, but he's a complete fighter. What I mean is, and you know, if you take into consideration every aspect in boxing, Boots may not be perfect at it, but I think he does every department well. I think he has solid defense. I think he has solid punching power. He got decent hand. He got good hand speed. He got good athleticism. He has great timing. He could fight outside. He could fight at mid range. He could fight at on the inside. Great punch. I said outside, inside, mid range. Boots could fight at all of those based off of what I've seen. Great killer instinct. Great punch placement. Like Boots, killer mentality. All of that. You feel me? So I think Keith got. I understand what you mean by saying you think Boots is the perfect fighter. I don't believe there's such thing as a perfect fighter. I think that'll never be achievable. You can't name a single fighter in boxing history that did everything perfect. It's just impossible. But there is such thing as complete fighters, and Boots is definitely one of them, in my opinion. She said Keith got hurt by Jarvis. I didn't see that, Bella, but shit. I don't know. I might have to go back and watch that. Neek J, what up? She said, speaking of extra weight, what do you think? And I'm sorry, I addressed the comment so late. I don't know if you're still in the building, Neek J, but I'm going to still answer your question, anyway, since you were a supporter of the channel. So how do you think that extra weight will affect Bud, if at all? I mean, it's a great question, and it's definitely an unknown at this point in time. I think that's what makes the fight so exciting, in my opinion, because we don't really know what's going to happen with Bud. Like, we know what Canelo's going to do, because Canelo done been at 168 for years now. I don't know how many fights he has at that division thus far, but, we've seen him time and time again be able to perform at an elite level multiple times. You know what I'm saying? In that division. Bud, he's barely he didn't even acclimate to 154, in my opinion. So now you're requesting his body to move up an additional 14 pounds when he just moved up 7 pounds not that long ago. So with all of that being taken into consideration, if it does affect Bud, it's gonna affect him. It can affect him in a negative way or in a positive way. Maybe, in a positive way, he might feel more energized. He might feel stronger. He might feel, you know what I mean? He might be able to, push Canelo around. He might be able to do those things with that additional weight. But things that may affect him negatively is, what if he's sluggish in the ring? What if he starts off energetic, but then in the later rounds he seems to gas out because he's not accustomed to pushing through fatigue with that additional weight on him, with that additional muscle on him? Because Bud also puts some muscle on as well, so that might actually play a part. Muscle can help you, but it could also hurt you. There's pros and cons to having, adding on muscle, especially at 37, 38 years of age. You know what I'm saying? So what do I personally think? I think the weight could help him at certain points throughout the fight, especially when he's looking to be physical and, help with his punch resistance and stuff like that. Because I feel like Bud is going to get hit by Canelo. And maybe that additional weight or muscle that he puts on during camp may be able to, help him absorb a shot. You feel me? But then it may also hurt him because when he starts to feel, some fatigue, his body not accustomed to that additional weight being on him, so he's not going to know how to necessarily carry it. Or he might come into the fight off rip sluggish, or because of that, because his feet not necessarily underneath him, he might get hit with a body shot that take a lot out of his gas tank. There's so many ways that it could help him, but there's also so many ways that it could hurt him. So I hope I answered your question, Nick J. Shout out to you with the great question. Like I've been saying, it's an uphill battle for Bud. Uphill battle. But if Bud is able to pull this off, I don't want to hear nobody saying how Canelo was burnt out or he's over the hill. I don't want to hear any of that, because one thing that we can't dispute is that Canelo was undisputed champion when Bud beat him. If that's a scenario, you can't take that away from him. He beat Canelo that, whether he's older or not, he was the number one super middleweight in the division. And Canelo was coming off becoming two-time undisputed in his last fight prior to Bud. So I just don't want nobody discrediting Bud if he gets it done. Yasser Ali says, Crawford finna get robbed or is finna end in a draw. Who you got? I'm definitely rooting for Bud, man. But like I said, I'm going to reserve my thoughts on the fight until after the weigh-in. So be on the lookout Friday afternoon for my final prediction, because I won't be going live for that one. My final prediction for Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. You see what I'm saying? Y'all gotta watch that video, man, because I usually be on point with my picks. I definitely get more right than wrong. I gotta listen to y'all boy. I got some picks that a lot of people wasn't too sure about, and it happened. That Rolly and Ryan one, I called it. You feel what I'm saying? So y'all tune in with this one. It's gonna be a really detail-oriented, breakdown. You know what I mean? Being as objective and knowledgeable as possible. And we got ourselves a great fight Saturday night. Y'all gotta tune in. Y'all gotta tune in during the live fight party. And if anybody's in the Philadelphia area that's familiar with your boy, like my boy Chris Maldonado or whatever, y'all want to come through and watch the fight. I mean, you might get we're gonna have security in this motherfucker. You might get patted down or whatever, because motherfuckers ain't about to be coming in here acting crazy, but we're gonna have a good time though. You say you still putting money on the draw. Well, technically I did already, because we did a boxing pool at the gym. So I already bet it on the draw. I just feel like I need to do it on DraftKings. Wait, what do I use again? FanDuel or DraftKings? What I be using? FanDuel. FanDuel, the only one who ain't been giving me trouble. FanDuel. Solo Taino says, I'm a fan of both, but it's hard to bet against Canelo. I'll be honest. Yeah, I understand. Canelo has a lot of things going in his favor. Al Pal said, did you ever get the Ring magazine for August? It was nice. No, I didn't get to check that out, Al. I haven't bought a Ring magazine since I bought the Tito Trinidad edition a few years back, and I had Tito sign my drum. That was the last time I bought a Ring. No, bullshit. I got the Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev Ring magazine at Pivot Boxing Academy right now. I got it over there. Came with a poster and all. It was pretty dope. But anyways, man, I'm going to get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and showed love. Y'all can go ahead and hit the like button on the way out. That'd be very much appreciated. Let's get the algorithm on the up so that people know that Mazuma TV went live. If y'all appreciate the boxing content, if you appreciate the consistency, if you appreciate me continuously cooking up on the boxing world, y'all go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You know what I mean? Things been pretty slow lately, so if you want to show your boy, show this small channel some love, feel free to do so. We on the road to 4K. We well into the 3,100 mark, about to hit that 3,200 mark in due time. You feel what I mean? I'll be back at y'all with another video tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that and possibly another live. Stay tuned for the announcements. Until then, this is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV, signing out. I hope y'all have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.